Beginner's Guide to Investing in Real Estate. Did you know that 89% of all millionaires were created so through real estate? Yes, it's true. I know you may have heard this before, and I know some of you think that it's not true, but it is. I'm going to tell you exactly how you can get your piece of the pie too. Let's go.
Noel. Yeah, she can fix that. If you gotta get it done, no, you need to do it better. Well, she can fix that. Yeah, she can fix that. Investment to get back, trying to get a big stack. She can fix that. Let's fix that.
So let's talk about why real estate, because as a real estate investor, you need to understand the business and know all of the benefits that there are to real estate investing. So when it comes to real estate investing, again, there are so many benefits. You have the properties that you are buying, they are appreciating in value because we know real estate, generally speaking, goes up in value over time. This concept is called appreciation. Additionally, real estate is a tangible asset that you can monetize. You can put tenants in them. They can stay there for a year. We call those long-term tenants. Or you can furnish the properties and put them on Airbnb and have short-term rentals. That's another way to make income on the properties. Another awesome thing about real estate is that it increases your net worth. Because real estate is a tangible asset, meaning something that you can hold, you can touch it, you can sell it, it increases your net worth because usually it's going up in value and it's an asset, okay? Like I said, it's a real thing. It's not usually going down in value. Of course, cars are an asset, but they are what we consider depreciating assets, but houses and homes are appreciating assets, so they usually increase your net worth. So as a real estate investor, I quickly learned that this was the easiest way to increase my net worth, increase my cash flow, and move me into a higher tax bracket of becoming a millionaire. So let's talk about how you'll do that right now. So let's begin. When you are a real estate newbie, there's a lot of competition because you're going to have a lot of people that were already investing in real estate before you ever started. But do not let that intimidate you. There are so many people out here that are going to tell you you can't do it, it's very difficult, you need a lot of money, or you need good credit, and all of these things that just are not true. For me, I started from my parents' basement, bankrupt, multiple foreclosures, bad credit, no money, like just the worst situation ever. I was a complete disaster, and now I'm not. But what I learned and what I'm going to tell you is that you will start as a newbie, starting as a newbie. Do not try to start as an advanced person. Don't just jump in and start doing what, all of these big investors are doing, the Grant Cardones and the Noel Randalls and all of these people with apartment buildings and thousands of properties and all this other stuff. You don't want to just jump in and start doing what we do because we grew to that level. So let me tell you where I started and where you should be starting. You should be starting with a property problem. You should be starting with people that are behind on their mortgage, going through a divorce, they inherited a house they don't want, they're having some type of issue with the property, and they're almost willing to walk away from it. Those are the people that are best designed for you to help because they're a lot more desperate and you're going to be more of a resource for them. You're going to be able to quickly connect them with someone that can help them. Let me tell you how to do that and how you make money in the process because this is the fun part. So let me start by telling you quickly my real story. So like I said, I started from my parents' basement, broke, bankrupt, foreclosures, kids, the worst, like just a disaster. But what happened to me in my parents' basement was life-changing. I ended up finding a real estate coach that taught me something I had never heard of before. He taught me a concept called wholesaling. And that's where I would find people with property problems. And for me specifically, I found people that had the same situation that I had been in a year before, people that were facing foreclosures. So, okay, let's go back. This is 2009. This is when the big foreclosure crisis was happening. People were losing their jobs. People were losing their houses. It was the Great Recession, okay? I thought that this was a terrible time to get into real estate. I had lost all of my properties. I'm living in my parents' basement. This is probably not a good time to be in real estate. And my coach told me, oh no, sister, this is the perfect time to get into real estate. There are tons of people that are in the same situation that you were in before you ended up in your parents' basement. And all you need to do is get to them before they finish the foreclosure. Get to them while they're still behind on their payments, while they're still living in the house, and while you can still help them, okay? And so here's the key. He told me, start sending out letters, start putting out signs, hey, are you behind on your mortgage payments? Hey, do you need help? Hey, are you facing foreclosure? Put out signs, letters, ads. I mean, you can do this on social media. You can do this online. You can do this offline. There's just so many different ways. In fact, I've made an entire video telling you how to do this. I'll make sure I'll put a link up here or in the description box so that you have access to this video. But the bottom line and the big lesson here is that I had to focus on people that were having a property problem, and I had to connect to them using my story and telling them a way that they could avoid going through what I had been through. Man, was this life-changing. Let me tell you how you do it. Like I said, what I did was I just started putting out signs. We call them bandit signs, and I started mailing letters. I have some letters and some scripts and things like that, and I'll make sure again to put some resources down there for you. We have a nice little checklist if you stay to the end. And so the bottom line to it is people started calling me and saying, hey, yeah, I am behind on my payments. How can you help me? And in many cases, they were behind on their payments 5, 6, 7 months, and they were about to be in foreclosure. Or they were thinking of filing bankruptcy so that maybe they could keep the house, but then in many cases with the bankruptcy, they were not going to let them keep the house because they could not afford it. So long story short, I was able to get those people, get them under contract, and then flip those contracts to investors who wanted rental properties or who wanted properties to fix and flip. Real estate investors. And they started paying me fees for me referring them these properties and these contracts because I had done the legwork. I had talked to the seller. I had got them under contract. I knew what the repairs were needed on the house. I knew what the house was now worth. Again, made an entire video that teaches you how to wholesale. And this was a very easy way for me to get started and start making some deals. And so for each deal, I was charging at least $5,000. In some cases, it was $5,000. Some cases, it was $10,000 and up because it was very easy to just add my fee to the price of the house. Let me give you a quick example. For example, you find a house, you get it under contract for $100,000, but the house is really, once it's repaired and all fixed up, is worth $200,000. So what would I do? I would say, hey, investors, I have a house for $110,000 for you guys. Mind you, I told you $100,000 was all the seller needed to cash the mortgage payment up or whatever and get out of that property. And so I would just add my fee in there. And again, still $90,000 worth of profit for that end investor. So I win, they win, and the seller wins. You're just putting together some win-win scenarios and making everyone money in the process and solving a problem. Super easy. This was the beginning. So you start off by wholesaling, you get a few deals, 5,000, 10,000. Now you got some money, you can do what we call deal compounding. You can start fixing and flipping, and then you can start keeping some of them for your rental properties, and then boom, you are now into a whole different category, same situation that I am now in, millionaire status. But again, you can start with bad credit, no money, really just not having anything going for you, and just start putting some grinding in there and start getting your money going. Let me tell you the next step because this is super important and this is going to unlock what you should be doing. So let's talk about the properties and how you can really make a lot of money. Like I said, you're focusing on people that have property problems, people that are behind on their mortgage payment, in divorce, bankruptcies, just all different types of situations. I've even had situations where it was elderly people that needed to move to a convalescent home. A lot of those houses were paid off, actually. That's a really great niche. I'll probably have to make an entire video just on that because that's incredible too. But again, focusing on people that have property problems and then moving to that next step. So one of the things that's super important is going to be finding out and being able to talk to sellers. This is really the only skill that you're gonna have to start to develop. Yeah, like I said, analyzing properties, people think that that's the big part. How do I know if this is a good deal? And how do I know? Don't get focused on that. That's the problem. You're thinking too much like this advanced person. You're watching too much of these advanced people that are way far ahead of you. Stay where you are. If you are a beginner and you are new at this, you don't really have to focus on the property itself. Focus on the person. Focus on helping them solve their problem. What are they trying to do? How much money do they need to get out of that house? How much do they owe on it? How much are they past due? You know, how much the payments that they have? How many payments past due are they? What are they looking to do? How soon can they be out of the home? How can you solve their problem? Because you're new, you're not gonna know everything. But if you can get and you can connect with that seller, I'm telling you, a more advanced investor that you're going to flip that contract to, they will be able to help you and guide you. You really just need to stay where you are and focus on helping that seller, talking them through what their situation is and asking how they want you to help them. They may say, oh, can you pay off my foreclosure and let us just stay in the house and rent the house back to us? Possibly. That has happened. We literally have had people that have gotten the house back from us and rented their own foreclosure back from us. So don't just discount that that can't happen. Just focus on trying to get them a solution to their problem. Don't worry about anything else until you start getting some deals under your belt, because you finding someone that is even willing to sell their property at a discount is all you need to start making money as a beginner. I promise you. Next step, as a newbie, knowing what the end investor is going to do with the property and all of the things that they can do with the properties is going to be key for you. Not that you have to be able to do all of these things. You know, you don't have to be able to rehab a house in order to help and start the process and help a person that has a house that's falling apart get their home rehabbed and do a fix and flip. That's not your concern. The investors that you're going to be flipping these contracts to, we're established already. We have hard money lenders, you know, we have rental properties already. We fixed and flipped before. So we know what to do with the properties. As a newbie, this is how you will learn, okay? Don't go in and start off trying to fix and flip. That's how I ended up in my parents' basement, okay? Going into it and it's just saying, oh, I got a little change, you know, I'm a professional, you know, I make $80,000 a year, I'm just gonna start flipping houses. It's probably not the best thing to do. Starting with buying properties low is going to be instrumental to your success. Finding people and having the skill to find people with property problems is why I'm still rich and why I'm still a success in real estate, because it's not about the properties. I know people think that they are, and we watch all this HGTV, but it's about the people. Focus on the people, not the problem, and that's how you start off as a beginner newbie. All right, one last thing for you. As a bonus, I know I shared so much, told you all of this whole guide, step by step, what you say, where you go, how you look for this thing. So last but not least, because I would just be crazy if I didn't tell you this, is going to be establishing business credit. I may have shared this with you before. I started off wholesaling, and then I moved to fixing and flipping, and then I moved to rental properties. But one of the biggest mistakes that I made was not establishing business credit as soon as I started. Before you ever fix and flip a house or even wholesale, you can start building a business that can get funded with business credit. You can literally get an LLC, an email, a website, and start getting funds, credit cards, lines of credits, loans, all of these things in your business's name without it ever reporting on your own personal credit report. Additionally, with business credit, you get higher limits. You know, like you get a Capital One card in your name. They may give you $500 or $1,000. But when you get a business Capital One, they give you $5,000 right off the top. It's crazy. It's a whole new world that you want to get into, and that's where the money is for your business. So again, I'm going to put a link in there. You got to do business credit. You got to learn about business credit if you really want to be successful in real estate. And this is going to be a way faster way than trying to save your own money, trying to use your own personal credit cards, or trying to do enough wholesale deals so that you can finally start getting rental properties. If you start doing your wholesaling and building your business credit, you really could just do one or the other. You don't even necessarily have to do all of the wholesaling or do wholesaling for a very long time if you work on getting your business credit up quickly. I have students that have gotten over $100,000 in business funds in less than a year. Check it out. Make sure you're doing it. Okay, so hopefully you got all of this great information. I actually have written an entire book that breaks all of this down, and I wanted to make sure this was super affordable. I know that everyone cannot afford coaching and classes and all this other stuff, so I wanted to give you a free book. It's a long book, much longer than any book that I've ever written. It's super detailed, and you could get it for free just by going to noellsfreebook.com. Do not hesitate to check it out. It's absolutely free. I just want to make sure that you have all of the resources, all of the tools, and all of the knowledge that you need to be successful. This is Noelle, to your success.